Hey guys, welcome back to the Copenhagen Major and welcome back to the INSITE channel. I am here with Bleh, a talent who has come from being someone who's brought on as a niche, like you knew the Asian scene, and now you're here doing the grand finals. So I just want to firstly talk to you, basic question about the Major. How's it been? How's your experience? And how's the crowd been in the arena?
I think this might be a bit my fourth Major, but this might be the most memorable one, right? Obviously, the group stages had a lot of really cool storylines, but the way the playoffs bracket shaped up is not something I could have dreamt about. Like, we obviously always have these underdog stories, maybe a couple of teams who kind of got a little lucky with the matchups and whatnot, but I feel like the way it is shaped up, looking at the finals we have here today as well, the storylines at every stage is something, at least for me, being on the desk, I usually dream about.
Yeah.
It just talks so much about its matchup. So, for me personally, the best Major so far.
Oh, that's very good to hear. And, well, speaking about this Major as well, Asian CS got gifted a new spot, or not gifted, they granted themselves a new spot after the Mongols went through to the Elimination Stage. How was that from your perspective? Like, were you proud, or what were your kind of emotions of that?
That's a tough one, and without trying to sound like a ass,
Yeah.
I was expecting them to make it through to the Elimination Stage, right? I think they've been playing a pretty, very solid level of CS overall, and the fact that they had to battle out from 0-2, where they had some very close opportunities to get those opening wins, I feel was a bit of a disappointment. But on the bright side, they were able to battle it out all the way from the bottom to make it through to the next stage. And once you got there, you could see the caliber of the players. You know, they're playing some very good CS against, I believe, it was Navi and Mirage, against Vitality or Nuke. These are very close maps where it's like, 9-9, 10-10, where they had the opportunity. It's just a lack of experience, especially, with all the pressure of a Major right there. And I also believe they kind of maybe hero worship their opponents a little too much, or like, we're going against Zaiwu, against Nico, and I feel that doesn't really allow them to play the way they usually do, right?
Yeah.
So they're just there and just need to get that extra step to kind of disrespect your opponents a little bit more. And I feel once you get to do that, I feel this is a team that maybe not in Shanghai, but maybe the next one might reach the playoffs, hopefully.
That would be really cool. Do you think it's because there's not, they're almost like desensitized? Oh no, they haven't been desensitized to higher players, because like when they come over, it's like one spot for a blast, one spot for a challenger, and it's normally taken by, well, to be fair, the Mongols actually. But do you think it's because they're not sensitized yet to like these bigger names, and they're still just getting used to it?
Yes, I 100% believe so. I feel like if they, for example, bootcamped here a little bit more, which is easier said than done, honestly.
Of course, yeah.
But if they got to play FPL quite a bit, which they were doing, they're having a good time there, and you get to know these people as players, as colleagues, friends, not just as heroes you look up to. I think they would feel more comfortable. Just being a little bit more brazen in certain duels. They don't have to play correct Counter-Strike all the time, right? And I feel that is something which comes with time. This is the youngest team at the Major thus far, so I feel the sky's the limit, honestly, for them.
Of course. And so looking in the grander scheme of things, you guys now have, well, so not you guys, like the Asian scene has 3 scenes. Just for throwing some examples, like FlyQuest have now invested into Oceania, and New Happy, maybe like a newer face, and they've qualified for Melbourne. Like, what do you really see? And well, the Indian event you were casting, like the Indian scene is also growing up a little bit more. What do you see as kind of like the future right now for Asian CS?
The future looks bright as it has since the inception of CSGO, if you ask me, honestly, right? We saw the Tyloo run they had back in 2018, 2017, I believe it was. But that was just Tyloo as a team doing Tyloo things. Also, the level of Counter-Strike back then was a little bit more wilder, so to speak. So they could get away with a lot of stuff which wouldn't necessarily work nowadays, right?
For sure,
But if you look at the Mongols and what they're doing, they're beating some very strong teams. They're coming close to beating them, playing, some proper regimented style of CS while still having a bit of Asian flair. So I feel like the Mongols being the flag bearers is great. The 3 spots there, I think, look, I know you're happy making a few changes. There's Tyloo, they've just made a couple of changes as well, and all these teams.
Rare Atom just kind of went.
And they're going to pick up a couple of new players.
Yeah, sure.
Because for a lot of Chinese orgs, the Shanghai Major is everything. They as a Chinese org, you need to be there at the Major. So the competition is going to be very high. But that being said, I feel the front runners are going to be obviously the Mongols, has to be Lynn Vision, and has to be, I believe, FlyQuest Red, a.k.a. the ex-Greyhound. Who should be the front runners. But, I mean, I think it could happen, right? We expected Greyhound to make it last time. It was Lynn Vision coming through. But it is such a golden opportunity for them to, be here. And, hopefully, if not just the Mongolz, but even Lynn Vision, or maybe even, the Greyhound guys can make it to the elimination stage. And next time we get 5 spots. suddenly we're cooking. From a retail world, like, take away the spots. We're suddenly looking good. So for the very first time, I'm optimistic. It's been a while.
That's really good to hear. And just finally, I want to end with talking about you for a second.
All right.
You have this, I think, like in the last 12 months, I literally see you everywhere. Like you are doing so much. And kind of what I mentioned a little bit at the beginning, I felt like as you got brought on, maybe it's like niche. You had this niche info on the Asian teams, but now you've kind of expanded that niche info and knowledge to just you are one of the best analysts in the world. What's it like going from those stages, if that makes sense?
That's a good question. I started out just as a hobby. I was doing a lot of like online commentary. I started as a caster, actually, like a play-by-play /
And you casted right at like Blast with the like RMRs, was it?
No, this was like 2013. It was USCA Open in Asia, in APAC, no one is covering it, and I was like, screw it, I'll just do it myself. Just as a hobby. I had a 9-to-5 job, came back, did it, and then at one point I started getting offers to, do some local events here and there. They're willing to pay me. I'm like, I'll just do it as a part-time thing.
Okay.
It's only when I did the ESL 1 Cologne Asian qualifier in Malaysia, that's the one where Immunity and Vox 7 are won. That was my first international one. But even then, I was like, this isn't something I'm going to really pursue. I'd never looked at a desk as something which I belonged at because I was never really a high-level pro player, even though I did play, 1.6 and some Go to a reasonable level, so to speak, right? And I feel, then it was IM Taipei reached out to ESL, and they're like, we can hire you as a commentator because we got Anderson, Semler, and Moses, and Pansy. And like, fair.
Quite hard to compete with.
Yeah, but like, we did have a spot on the desk as the Asian. It's the first Asian minor. Do you want to come on? I'm like, cool. It was DDK as a host, I remember. It was Vendetta and me. And it was a wild time. Just walk in, just nobody, and all these guys are pretty famous at that time. It was super nice, super helpful, and that's when I realized if I can't necessarily make it as a commentator, but if the desk positions are available, why not make that work, right? And even though I did continue to commentate online here and there intermittently, a lot of offers were coming my way to do desk work. And while initially I did get pigeonholed a little bit for the first couple of years in the Asian event, so to speak. So if I am Shanghai, I'm getting hired. If it's an event, it's an Asian mar, I'm getting hired. But outside of that, I wasn't really getting hired to a lot of international events. That's when I started doing a lot of online commentary for EU qualifiers and whatnot. And companies like DreamHack are like, all right, you do EU stuff. I'm like, I do. And you know how to work the desk. I do. So that's when DreamHack reached out to me, Starlighter reached out to me that they wanted to work the desks over here. So it's kind of like, it's just the ability and the willingness to adapt. And find if that makes you happy. And desk work really makes me happy. Does commentary something I miss? Yes, it is. I did love doing that, but also I'm okay not doing it as well. I really enjoy this little niche I've carved out for myself. But that's kind of how it is. And then of course you grind it out. That's all I can say. It took me about 11 years from doing it, which is 2013, to doing my first major grand finals 11 years later. So there really is no shortcut, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's an amazing journey, and today's going to be an amazing day, and I wish you really the best of luck on the desk. It's been an amazing major in total, and I can't wait for you guys to send it out in a blaze of glory, as one might say. But with that, thank you very much, and I will let you go. I've kind of caught you here in the press room.
All good.
But thank you so much, and thank you everyone for watching, and thank you for keeping up with our coverage at the Copenhagen Major. We'll see you next time. Cheerio.